October 12th, 2020, Uddevalla, Sweden, a postcard-perfect coastal town where crime is something that happens elsewhere. The kind of place where neighbors still leave their doors unlocked. But tonight, that illusion shatters. It's 7:15 p.m. Golden autumn light fades over the Bohuslän fjord. 17-year-old Mattias Borg zips his navy blue hoodie against the chill, shouts Hejda to his mom, and walks out the door. Just another Monday. He's meeting friends at the harbor. He says, text messages later confirm it. Be home by 10. Simple. Routine. But here's where the ordinary fractures. Mattias buys sourdough chips and a Coke at the ICA supermarket. The cashier remembers his shy smile. He meets his friends Lucas and Ellen by the docks. They joke about school, take a blurry Snapchat photo. By 9 p.m., they part ways. Lucas heads home. Ellen catches the bus. Mattias? He walks toward the old shipyard, a labyrinth of rusted cranes and abandoned warehouses. His phone pings one last time near the water's edge. And then nothing. No scream. No struggle. No shadowy figure caught on camera. Just a teenager swallowed by the night. 3 years later, his backpack hasn't been found. His Spotify account stays frozen in time, stuck on a half-finished playlist called Fishing Vibes. His mother still sets his plate at dinner, as if one day the door might creak open and he'll say, "Sorry I'm late." But the truth is, there's no late here, only questions that claw louder with time. How does someone vanish from a town of 35,000 without a single witness? Why has every dive team, cadaver dog, and volunteer search party come up empty? And why does this case feel less like a mystery and more like a ghost story written in whispers? This isn't just about a missing boy. It's about the lies a small town tells itself to sleep at night, the secrets buried in shallow water, and the chilling possibility that even in broad daylight, in a place everyone claims to know, someone can disappear without a trace. To unravel this mystery, you need to see Mattias Borg, not as a headline or a blurry school photo, but as a living, breathing boy. Let's start here, his bedroom. Walls plastered with hand-drawn superheroes. A Viking warrior with a fishing rod. A mermaid tangled in seaweed. Sketchbooks piled under his bed, filled with stories he never showed anyone. His art teacher called him a quiet storm. Someone who spoke through his pencil, not his words. Mattias wasn't the kid who craved the spotlight. While classmates partied on weekends, he'd bike to the fjord at dawn, rod in hand, to fish for cod. His friends joked he'd become a hermit by 30. He'd forget to eat if you didn't remind him. His best friend Lucas told police, too busy staring at the water, like it owed him answers. But here's what his family wants you to know. Mattias wasn't reckless. His parents had a rule, home by 10 p.m., no exceptions, and he followed it, religiously. Once, he missed the bus home from a soccer match and sprinted 3 miles in the rain to make curfew. His sister Linnea, then 14, teased him. "You're like a human GPS, always on the safest route." So picture him that last evening. Navy hoodie zipped to his chin, backpack slung over one shoulder, a half-finished sketch poking out. He'd just applied to maritime school, dreams of restoring old ships. His mom said, ordinary, predictable, the kind of kid who'd text leaving now if he was 5 minutes late, which is why October 12th defies logic. Because the Mattias Borg who vanished that night, he doesn't match the boy who lived. No note, no goodbye, just a single, chilling contradiction. The most cautious kid in Uddevalla walked straight into a mystery and left no trail to follow. Unless he didn't walk alone. Let's walk through every minute we know, every breadcrumb left behind. Because in cases like this, the devil isn't just in the details, it's in the gaps between them. October 11th, 2020, 5 p.m. 24 hours before he vanishes. Mattias is exactly where he should be. Home. His sister Linnea films him on her phone, laughing as he burns pancakes. "You're a disaster," she says. He flips her off, grinning. Later, he texts his friend Lucas. "Harbor tomorrow? 8 p.m. Normal. Routine. The last normal day." October 12th, 7:15 p.m. dinner at the Borg house. Salmon. Potatoes. Lingonberry jam. Mattias finishes first, grabs his backpack. His mom, Anna, asks, "Where's the fire?" He says he's meeting Lucas and Ellen by the docks. She doesn't ask questions. Why would she? He's never given her a reason to. 7:30 p.m. he leaves. The security camera across the street catches him. Navy hoodie, black jeans, white sneakers, hands in pockets. No hesitation, no looking back. 7:42 p.m. ICA supermarket. He walks into the ICA, grabs a bag of sourdough chips and a 500 milliliters Coke. The cashier, Ingrid, remembers him. Polite kid, paid exact change, 17 kronor. The camera shows him checking his phone. No signal inside. He leaves at 7:47 p.m. 7:55 p.m. The harbor Udavala's docks are quiet on weeknights. Lucas arrives first, then Ellen. Mattias jogs up, slightly out of breath. Ellen later tells police. He seemed normal, maybe tired, said he'd been up late drawing. They sit on the edge of the pier, legs dangling over the water. Lucas snaps a photo, Mattias mid-laugh. Coke bottle in hand. The timestamp, 8:14 p.m. 8:30 p.m. 3 teenagers. 3 futures. They talk about school, the upcoming winter. Ellen complains about her math teacher. Mattias mentions his maritime school application. Lucas ribs him. You'll marry a mermaid and live on a boat. They split a bag of chips. No arguments. No tension. Just 3 kids killing time. 9 p.m. the group splits up. Ellen takes the bus home. Her stop is 12 minutes away. Lucas walks north toward his apartment. Mattias heads east. Along the waterfront. This is the last time anyone admits to seeing him alive. 9:12 p.m. CCTV near the post office catches a figure in a navy hoodie cutting through an alley. Too grainy to confirm it's Mattias. But the height matches, 178 centimeters. Police later measure the route. It's a 7-minute walk to the old shipyard. 9:45 p.m. his phone pings a cell tower near the shipyard's north gate. No call, no text, just a silent handshake with the network. The tower covers a 1.5 kilometers radius, enough to include the docks, the woods, and the fjord's edge. 10 p.m. curfew time. Anna texts him. Where are you? Delivered. Not read. She waits 10 minutes. Calls. Straight to voicemail. 10:30 p.m. Anna calls Lucas. Is Mattias with you? Lucas says no. Ellen checks her messages. Nothing. Anna paces. Maybe his phone died. Maybe he stayed at a friend's. But Mattias? Never. Midnight Anna drives to the harbor. No cars. No lights. Just the slap of waves against concrete. She shouts his name. The wind shouts back. October 13th, 6 a.m. Uddevalla police file a missing persons report. Officer Halverson takes notes. No mental health issues. No drugs. No enemies. Routine. He thinks. Kids probably hung over in a ditch. 8 a.m. the first search party. 30 volunteers. 2 dogs. They comb the woods behind the shipyard. Rain the night before washed away footprints. The dogs pick up a scent near the water, then lose it. 11 a.m. divers arrive. The fjord is 20 meters deep here. Currents unpredictable. They find bicycles. A car bumper. A wedding ring. No Mattias. 3 p.m. police pull his phone records. Last activity, 9:45 p.m. No texts. No searches. No app usage after the harbor. Like he turned it off, or someone else did. 6 p.m. national news picks up the story. Have you seen this boy? Flashes across Sweden. Tips flood in. A trucker swears he saw Mattias hitchhiking near Gothenburg. Debunked. Trucker's log shows he was in Oslo that night. A psychic claims he's trapped near water. The entire town is near water. A fisherman reports a heavy feeling near the shipyard. Not evidence. But the divers check again. Nothing. October 14th. Day 3 forensics takes his laptop. His search history, fishing tutorials, comic art forums, maritime school deadlines. No secrets. No red flags. His bank account, too. 300 kronor, $220. No withdrawals. No activity. His Spotify paused on a song called Have It, The Ocean, by a local band. Lyrics include, The water knows what you've done. Day 5 the case goes cold. The police hold a press conference. We've exhausted all leads. Anna screams at them in the parking lot. Exhausted? He's 17. Day 14 private investigators hired by the family search the shipyard. They find a rotting shed, a pile of rusted chains, a single white sneaker, size 43. Mattias wore 44. Dead end. Day 30 the posters fade. The news cycle moves on. But the Borgs don't. They hire divers again. They lie to the media. We're close. To a breakthrough. They're not. 3 years later, the file still sits on Detective Halverson's desk. He'll tell you, off the record, I've worked murders, kidnappings, gang wars, but this feels wrong, like the truth is laughing at us. So here we are, a timeline full of clocks but no answers, a phone that went mute, a boy who walked into the dark, and a town that still wonders, what's buried under the water or buried in plain sight? 3 years, thousands of hours of police work. And yet, Mattias Borg's disappearance boils down to 3 words. We don't know. But in the void of evidence, theories thrive. Let's dissect them, not to sensationalize, but to spotlight how thin the line is between fact and folklore in this case. Theory 1, accident, the simplest explanation, a tragic mishap. Mattias loved the fjord, but even seasoned fishermen respect Bohuslen's currents. That night, the water was 10 degrees Celsius, cold enough to kill within minutes. If he slipped, hit his head, sank. But here's the problem. The fjord was dragged for weeks. Sonar, divers, drones. They found a sunken Volvo from the 80s. A fridge, even a wedding ring. No body, no backpack. Forensics say a corpse would have resurfaced in 7 to 10 days unless weighted down. But why would Mattias carry weights? And if he fell? Why no scream? No one heard a thing. His father, Eric, a former sailor, insists. That boy knew the water like his own heartbeat. He wouldn't get close to the edge after dark. So does the fjord keep his secret? Or is this theory just a comfort? A way to blame nature instead of monsters? Theory 2, runaway. Maybe he wanted to disappear. A quiet kid, stifled by small-town life. But let's tally what he left behind. Passport in his desk drawer. 2, 300 kronor in savings. His guitar, a gift from his grandfather, wood stained with his initials. His Spotify account, logged out everywhere except his home laptop. His Instagram, still up, frozen at 427 followers. His sister says he'd never leave without his sketchbook. It was his voice. And then there's the digital footprint. No Google searches for bus tickets. No maps of far-off cities. His last YouTube watch history, a tutorial on drawing seagulls. Udavala's train station had cameras. No Mattias. No purchases from ATMs beyond town limits. No sightings. Nothing. Yet runaway cases usually crack within weeks. Either the kid returns, or they're found. Mattias did neither, unless running away wasn't his choice. Theory 3. Foul play. This is where the whispers start. Udavala's old shipyard is a relic, rotting warehouses, shattered glass, places kids dare each other to enter. That night, a van with Polish license plates was parked illegally near the north gate. The driver? Never identified. A local mechanic claims he saw a tall man in a black jacket lurking near the docks around 9:30 p.m. Another witness, a night shift nurse, recalls hearing raised voices near the water, though she admits it could have been the wind. Then there's the rumor no one wants to say aloud, drugs. In 2019, police busted a meth ring operating out of a nearby fishing village. Some speculate Mattias stumbled into a deal, saw something he shouldn't have, but his friends shut this down fast. Lucas, Mattias didn't even drink. If you'd offered him a beer, he'd have called his mom. No texts hint at a meetup. No history of secret friends. No cryptic sketches. Still, foul play leaves room for the unthinkable. What if someone in Uddevalla knows exactly what happened? Someone who passes Anna Borg at the grocery store. Someone who sits in church on Sundays. The whispers when facts fail. Folklore rushes in. A trucker swears he picked up a hitchhiker matching Mattias' description near Gothenburg, 150 kilometers south. He was shaking. The driver said, wouldn't tell me his name, but when pressed, the trucker couldn't recall the boy's eye color. A self-proclaimed psychic from Stockholm dreams of a boy in a blue room, underwater, holding his breath. The Borgs paid her to visit Uddevalla. She stood on the docks, pointed to the fjord, and said, he's here. The divers found nothing. Then there's the darkest whisper. The shipyard's caretaker, a reclusive man in his 60s, was questioned twice. No charges, no evidence, just a gut feeling Detective Halverson can't shake. He smiled when I asked about Mattias. Not a nervous smile, a knowing one, but without proof. These are just stories, ghosts to fill the silence. The unlit path, there's a fourth theory, rarely said aloud. What if Mattias chose to disappear? Not as a runaway, but as someone escaping a life that no longer fit. A boy who sketched superheroes might crave a secret identity. Maybe he forged new documents, boarded a ferry to Denmark, and started over. But this isn't a movie. In real life, 17-year-olds don't vanish without a trace unless something or someone makes them. The one question left, so where does this leave us? With a family clinging to a single truth, someone knows. Maybe it's the woman who heard a splash but blamed it on fish. The man who lied about his alibi to hide an affair. The teen who stole a bike that night and won't admit it, terrified of being blamed for worse. Or maybe it's you. You watched this video because the mystery hooked you. But what if it's not just curiosity? What if you've seen something, a face in an old photo, a comment deleted too fast, and didn't realize it mattered? 3 years ago, Mattias, Borg stepped into the dark. The truth is still out there, and it only takes one light to reveal it. When someone vanishes, they don't just disappear. They leave holes. Holes in homes, in routines, in the way light falls through a window. Let's step into the silence Mattias left behind. Anna's limbo. Anna Borg still wakes at 6 a.m. every day. She makes 2 sandwiches instead of 1. Peanut butter for Linnea, ham and cheese for Mattias. She leaves his on the kitchen counter, wrapped in foil, just in case. By noon, she throws it away. This ritual has repeated 1,095 times. His bedroom remains frozen. Socks still balled up in the laundry basket. A half-made bed. Sheets twisted like he'd just rolled out. His deodorant sits on the dresser. She catches his scent sometimes and freezes. I don't clean in there, she says. What if he comes home and thinks we've moved on? Her phone is her enemy. She jumps at every notification, praying it's a text starting with mama. But it's always a bill, a spam ad, a meme from Linnea. Once, she dialed his number just to hear his voicemail. Hedge, leave a message. She called 7 times in one night until the battery died. The next morning, the phone company disconnected the number. Too many failed attempts. Grief is a stalker. She tells a support group. It follows you into the shower, sits beside you on the bus, whispers what if in your ear until you scream. Linnea's ghost. Linnea is 17 now, the same age Mattias was when he vanished. She dyes her hair jet black, wears his old hoodies, posts TikToks tagged #FindMattias. Her friends don't get it. Why dwell on the sad stuff, they ask. She doesn't explain how grief can become a sibling, how it shares your bed, your secrets, your rage. Every birthday, she texts his old number. Hey, it's me. You're 20 today. I drew you a Viking ship. Come home and I'll show you. 21, legal to drink now. Bet you'd hate beer. 22, I'm older than you'll ever be. That's not fair. She paints murals of him in her school's art room. Mattias fishing. Mattias laughing. Mattias as an old man with a beard. Her teacher once suggested she explore happier themes. Linnea didn't come back for a month. At night, she Googles how to find a missing brother and falls asleep to true crime podcasts. I just need to hear one story where they find the body, she says, so I know it's possible. The town that learned TO side-eye. Uddevalla used to be the kind of place where cashiers knew your coffee order. Now, it's a town that locks its windows. Neighbors whisper about the Polish van, the shipyard caretaker, the meth bust from 2019. They cross the street when they see Lucas, Mattias' best friend, not because they think he's guilty, but because grief is contagious. The harbor docks, once a hangout spot, sit empty. Parents ban their kids from fishing alone. It's not the water we're scared of. One father admits, it's the not knowing. Even the police carry the weight. Detective Halverson retires next year. He still visits the shipyard every October 12th. Walks the perimeter. Stares at the fjord. I've got grandkids his age. He says, how do you tell them the world's safe when you know it's not? The secret keeper. Here's the truth no one wants to say. Someone knows. Maybe it's the man who drank too much that night and can't remember driving home. The woman who found a backpack in the woods but didn't report it, scared of getting involved. The teenager who heard a scream but told himself it was a seagull. Or maybe it's simpler. A lie told to protect a friend. A secret buried under shame. A what's done is done shrug over a pint at the pub. The Borgs know this. It's why they knock on doors every anniversary. Why they beg Uddevalla. If you're scared to talk, meet us at the docks at midnight. No names. No cameras. Just tell us where he is. No one ever comes. The end. Or the pause. Cold cases are called cold for a reason. They're supposed to stay buried. But Anna writes letters to the National Police every month. Linnea files Freedom of Information requests. They've become detectives, journalists, activists, anything but victims. Last year, they raised funds to scan the fjord with new sonar. The machine found a strange shape 18 meters down. Divers went in. It was a rock. We'll keep looking. Linnea says, even if it takes 50 years, but in the quiet moments, when the house is dark, Anna admits the fear that keeps her awake. What if we're wrong? What if he didn't matter enough to anyone else to remember? The last word, so I'll leave you with this. Close your eyes. Picture Mattias Borg. Not the posters. Not the theories, the boy. The way he hummed off key when he drew. How he'd spit cherry pits into the fjord. The exact shade of his eyes, hazel, with a fleck of green near the pupil. Now ask yourself, if this were your brother, your son, your friend, would you let the world forget? The answer's simple. You wouldn't. So share this story. Share it until the right person hears it. Until the secret keeper cracks. Until the fjord gives up its ghosts. Mattias Borg is still out there. And silence is not an ending. Let's be clear, this isn't just a story about Mattias Borg. This is about the unmarked van on your street. The text your friend never answered. The knock on the door that comes too late. Because here's the truth, Uddevalla isn't special. It's every town. It's your town. And what happened to Mattias? It could happen to anyone. The face in your feed, you've scrolled past posts like his 1,000 times. Missing persons alerts between memes and ads. Maybe you paused. Maybe you thought, someone else will help. But what if that someone else is you? Maybe you drove through Uddevalla last summer, took photos of the fjord, ate at the ICA supermarket cafe. Did you see a faded poster taped to a lamppost? A boy in a navy hoodie, frozen at 17? Or maybe you've heard a story that prickled your neck. A friend of a friend who bragged about knowing what really happened. A late-night confession at a bar. A deleted Reddit thread titled Shipyard Secrets. Share it. Not tomorrow. Now. Because Anna Borg still sleeps with her son's hoodie clutched to her chest. Linnea still paints his face on walls, shouting his name in color. And every tip, every single one, is a flare shot into the dark. The ghosts we ignore, we tell ourselves missing kids are runaways. That bad things only happen to people who take risks. But Mattias? He took no risks. He followed the rules. He texted his mom. And yet, this is the nightmare we deny. You can do everything right and still lose. You can lock your doors, track your kids, teach them caution, and the world can still swallow them whole. So why share this story? Because the next time it happens, and there will be a next time, it might be a girl who sits next to your daughter in class, a boy who bags your groceries, a face you recognize, and when that day comes, you'll pray strangers don't scroll past. How to break the silence? You don't need to solve this case. Just don't look away. Share his name. Not just that missing Swedish kid. Mattias Borg. Say it until it feels familiar. Save his photo. The one where he's mid-laugh. Coke bottle in hand. Let it live in your camera roll. Question the gaps. That joke about the shipyard. That friend who clams up when Uddevalla's mentioned. And if you're still thinking, but I don't know anything. Did you know his favorite fishing spot was behind the red boathouse? That he hated licorice? That he drew superheroes with his sister's crayons? You do now. The last floodlight 3 years ago. Mattias Borg walked into the dark. But darkness only wins if we stop shining lights. So I'm asking you, no. I'm begging you, be the light. Share this video. Tag someone in Sweden. Post his face. Email the Uddevalla tip line. info@uddevallapolis.se. With even the faintest memory. Because here's the secret no one admits. Most cold cases aren't solved by detectives. They're solved by you. By a grandma recognizing a tattoo. By a mechanic remembering a dented van. By a single voice cutting through the noise. I know something. Final line. Mattias Borg is still out there. Keep looking.